We'll start with the three meningeal layers. This translucent kind of stuff here that's real tough on the outside part of the brain, that's the dura mater. Right there. See it? Can't come off. Look at the underside, and you see these brown strings here that are concentrated around the pituitary gland. Those are arachnoid mater, but they are also going to be in these grooves here. That's what your black lines are there. What are the grooves?
The grooves
Okay. The sulcus is the groove. The gyrus is the raised area. Good. Okay. And this right here, watch the blunt probe go through, and it pokes through, and that's your pia mater. Okay. All right. So let's look at just a cross section of your brain here.
On the inside.
On the inside. Yep. Okay, you see this right here? It looks darker on the outside and lighter on the inside. The gray matter's on the outside, and that is the what? The outer 2 to 4 millimeters of your brain that is gray matter. What is it? Cerebral cortex. Good. And I want y'all to notice too, see this wrinkle right here, which is a what? Sulcus? It's not the central sulcus. It is a sulcus. It has the gray matter like comes down and lines it. Does that make sense? So it's not just that the gray matter's the outer 2 to 4 millimeters. It actually goes along the sulci and stuff too. Okay, so you can kind of see how all that works, right? I mean, y'all can cut your brain and kind of play with it if you want to. Okay, that's that. Okay, next is dura mater, arachnoid mater, pia mater. This is the cerebrum, the largest part of the brain. This is the cerebrum. This is the cerebellum here, back here at the back. This is the brainstem here, and this is the diencephalon. So let's go ahead and look at the diencephalon. The two parts of the diencephalon you have to know are the thalamus. This is the thalamus. You see how it kind of makes a circle here? And use your imagination, you can kind of finish the circle, right? So that's the thalamus. The hypothalamus is in between the optic chiasma and the thalamus. This is the optic chiasma here, so here is the hypothalamus. It's not a circle, it's not, anything else. It's just between the optic chiasma and the thalamus. Okay, let's look at this underneath part here. Do you see that this right here, there's an eyeball right here? This is the optic nerve. You would have another one over here. So where the optic nerves cross, that's the optic chiasma. And the optic chiasma, it's going to be able to like braid together the information from each eyeball, and you end up with the optic tract, which is back here at the back. You're not going to be able to see it very well. Go in. Let me see if I can see it on this one. Can't see it at all on that one. Can't see it all on that one. Okay, so anyway, it's you can see it just tiny right there. I mean, you can't see it any better on that one, I guess is what I should say. But you can see it just a tiny bit right there. Okay, so optic nerve, optic chiasma, optic tract. Got it? This right here is the olfactory bulb. If you put your brain like right side up, like this right here, this is your nasal cavity right here. So your nasal cavity's here. You inhale with your nasal cavity and smell something, and it goes straight right there to your your olfactory bulbs.
Which one's your olfactory? That one, okay.
The biggest white thing in the front.
Something looks like the eyeball should be hanging off of.
No, this right here looks like the eyeball ought to be hanging off of it. That's the way you ought to say it. Okay, let's look on the cross section here, and you have your white part right here that looks kind of like a C. You have another one over here. This one right here looks like it's a little bit torn, but this one right here is a C, right? What is that? Corpus callosum. I always think of CC, corpus callosum, because that looks like a C. And you can see that it starts the circle here, so that's the what? Thalamus. Here's your optic chiasma, so this right here is the hypothalamus. Good. All right, so see your hypothalamus here, and here's your brainstem, right? And you can see that it's separated here from your cerebellum and stuff. So all of this right here is your brainstem. This is the thalamus, which is not a part of the brainstem. But the first part of the brainstem and that is near the thalamus is the what? Midbrain. It's in the middle of the brain. Okay, and then you have this part right here that poings out. See how it poings out right there? That's the what? Pons. And then this part right here is the medulla. Good. This right here is where the foramen magnum is. So that's the hole there where the spinal cord starts, right? So all this right here is the what? Spinal cord. So the medulla would be continuous with the spinal cord, correct? Okay. The ventricles. Does everybody see that this right here is the left side of the brain, right? Okay, so it'll have the left ventricle on it, right? Okay, if you separate it like this right here, you can see that you have this big space right here. See, I'm not tearing anything. I'm just making a big space there. And actually, it goes on into the middle part there. So that right there is your left ventricle. The right ventricle would be,
On the right side.
yeah, this is the right side, so let me tear this apart here. Y'all see it?
Yeah.
See how it goes back there? Okay. This right here, this is space. You can easily put your blunt probe around your thalamus there like that. The third ventricle, if you ever read a book and it says, where's the third ventricle, it'll say it surrounds the thalamus. So this right here is the third ventricle here. Yes? Okay. And so then the fourth ventricle is between the cerebellum and the brainstem. It's right here. All right. Remember that I said cerebrospinal fluid is made in your ventricles, and it's going to go from the pathway of the right or the left to the third. From the third, it goes to the fourth, and from the fourth, it goes down through your central canal, right? Okay. So how does it get from the third ventricle to the fourth ventricle? See this little line right here? That's the aqueduct of Sylvius. So that's the aqueduct of Sylvius there. Some of the brains you can't see the aqueduct of Sylvius in, like this one right here. I can't see it as well. This one right here is relatively good. But anyway, whatever's going to carry the fluid from the third to the fourth ventricle is the aqueduct of Sylvius. Okay, so back up real fast and go through this. Dura mater, the black strings here is arachnoid mater. The pia mater is what you pop through whenever you hold it still, pop. Okay. All right, so then you have the cerebrum, which is the largest part of the brain here. This is the cerebellum back here at the back. You have the brainstem. And the diencephalon is the thalamus and the hypothalamus. Those from lecture, those are the 4 parts of the brain. Okay, so let's look at the parts of the cerebrum that you have to know. First of all, you have to know the outer 2 to 4 millimeters is the gray matter called the cerebral cortex. Cerebral cortex, good. And your cerebrum does not touch until it gets down to the C-shaped structure here, which I really like better over here. I like it. Looks clearer over here. The C-shaped structure is your corpus callosum. Good. Okay, look at your diencephalon. You have this circle here. That is the thalamus. This right here is the optic chiasma. Good. So this right here is the what? Hypothalamus. This is the what? What hangs down from the bottom of the brain? We didn't go over it while ago. Pituitary gland, good. That's the pituitary gland. We did make the comment of the brown strings on each side of the pituitary gland. We pointed it to at the end, but that was the pituitary gland there. This is your olfactory bulb. This is your optic nerve. This is the optic chiasma, and this is the optic tract. Ventricles. You have your left one over here. Your right one would be on this side over here. The third one surrounds the thalamus, so it's right here in this. The thalamus is here. And then you have your aqueduct of Sylvius, and this is the fourth ventricle. The 3 parts of the brainstem: midbrain, pons, medulla, spinal cord. Spinal cord is not a part of the brainstem. Okay, everybody got it? Okay, good.